Long ago, in a lush valley nestled between two great mountains, there lived a young woman named Nyarai. Nyarai was known throughout her village not only for her beauty but for her kindness and wisdom. Her heart was as rich as the fertile earth, and she cared for all those around her. She was a mother to a newborn baby, and her joy knew no bounds as she nursed her child with the milk of her own body, a symbol of life and abundance. But times were hard in the valley. A drought had dried the rivers, and the crops failed to grow. Hunger crept into every home, and soon, even Nyarai's family began to feel the pangs of scarcity. Though she had little, Nyarai never complained, always giving what she could to those in greater need. One day, as Nyarai sat by the riverbed, a group of women from a neighboring village approached her. They had heard of her strength and the life-giving milk she provided for her child, and they too were desperate to feed their children. Their village had been struck even harder by the drought, and some mothers could no longer produce milk to nourish their babies. Nyarai, one of the women pleaded, "We have nothing left. Our children cry with hunger, and we can no longer provide for them. Will you share your milk with us? We will pay you what little we have in return." At first, Nyarai hesitated. The idea of selling the milk of her own body felt strange, for in her heart, she believed that life itself should not be sold. But then she looked into the eyes of the mothers, hollow with despair, and thought of the innocent babies whose lives depended on this precious nourishment. She thought of her own baby, content and thriving in her arms. And so, with a deep breath, Nyarai made a decision. "I will give you my milk," she said softly, "not for gold, but for something more precious. In return, you must promise me that when the rains return and the earth is full again, you will share what you have with others in need, as I have shared with you." The women agreed, tears of relief filling their eyes. And so, Nyarai began to nurse not just her own child, but the children of the village, providing them with the gift of life. As the days passed, she grew stronger in her resolve, knowing that her milk was a blessing to those who had none. Word of Nyarai's generosity spread far and wide, and soon women from distant lands came to her for help. She never refused them, always asking for the same promise, that they, too, would give back to others when the time of abundance returned. One day, the rains finally came. The sky opened, and the valley flourished once more. The crops grew tall, the rivers flowed strong, and the village was filled with the sound of laughter and life. The women whom Nyarai had helped never forgot their promise. They shared their harvests, their milk, and their blessings with others, just as Nyarai had shared with them. And so, Nyarai's name became a legend across the land, not for selling her breast milk, but for giving it freely with a heart full of love and hope. She became known as the mother of many, and her story was passed down through the generations as a reminder that in times of hardship, the true wealth of a community is in its people and their willingness to care for one another. Thus, the tale of Nyarai teaches that life, like the rivers that nourish the earth, flows best when shared, and that the greatest treasures are not those we hold, but those we give away.